Which of these two stores has the vibe that you prefer or that you like? Which one are you attracted to more and why? Now, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. They're different. So we're here today to talk about how to change or fix the vibe in your store based on visual merchandising and display and all the things that you can do to make the changes in all the areas that are necessary. And there are 5 of them. So your image is ideal and individual. It's the picture reflected to the buying public and the community. There can be a difference between the image the store thinks it has projecting and the way the community perceives it. Most stores have ongoing programs to change or enhance their image. So image created plus image maintained is target marketing. Nowadays, we're all into niche, so your target market is actually the people that are interested the most in your niche. So to do that, you need to improve your image in such a way that it's laser focused to the people that you're attracting, so that when they look at it or when they hear about you or see your brand, they immediately know, because of all the things you're putting together, they immediately know whether you would be considered high-end or economy or basic or standard, and there's nothing wrong with those things. It's just that your image needs to portray that. Years ago when I worked for Eaton's and their department store and was trained by them, they often said you can't put a $10 ring next to a $1,000 ring and expect the $10 ring to look more expensive. It actually can cheapen the $10 ring and make the $1,000 ring not look as important. So to the degree that things are more high-end or exclusive, they need their own space and place, and we're going to look into that. So enhance the vibe or change it. If you're not attracting enough of the right customers, you have the wrong image for the 5 Ps. This is the Retail Council of Canada. The price, the place. So with the price, we already just kind of mentioned a little bit about that. The place would be your location. And we all know that there are certain locations that seem to just suggest high end. We know that the rent's probably very high there to begin with. But also the location that you have, if you don't have a location where people automatically go, in other words, you don't have that traffic like say in a mall or a larger center, then you have to do more advertising, promoting, and things to try and get people to come to where your location is. And that can be a real challenge, but there are ways around that too. And then the people. So we're not just talking the people as in the purchasers, the people that are coming in to buy from you. We're talking about you, the people in the store, and the people who are working for you. And we're going to cover that as well in one of the other videos coming up. Of course, your products. They are the stars. The products are the stars, and you want to be careful that there's nothing competing or upstaging with the products based on how you're showing them. We say goods to be sold must first be seen, but it's how they're seen that makes or breaks, B-R-A-K-E-S, puts the brakes on, or breaks, B-R-E-K-S, stops the sales. And you want to avoid those things. So we're going to talk about those too in one of the other videos that are in this playlist. And last but not least, presentations. So the presentations are what I'm all about. As a merchandising consultant and retail design consultant, I'm working with these kind of things all the time. I'm going to show you a few little examples, but it's amazing the stores I've gone in, and all we've done is change up the displays and sometimes move the fixtures around a little bit, actually move some shelves and things like that. And what a difference it makes. The sales go up immediately. People walk in, especially your loyal customers, they walk in and they feel like they're in a new store, and they're all of a sudden looking at things that you've had there forever, but they're seeing them through new eyes because they're in a new place and they're making a new statement. And again, the image now has been shifted and changed so that you are target marketing more than ever before. So changing image from souvenirs for tourists to home decor for locals after 9/11. So I'm going to talk about this for a little bit because this represents typical stores that ask me to come in and help them. It's like they've got too much product, they've had it there forever, nothing's moving, their cash flow is down because the sales are down, and so they don't have the cash to be able to go and buy new things, because in their mind, I have to have the newest things, trendy things, latest thing in order for people to be attracted to my stuff. And or they are discounting like crazy, and all it's doing is devaluing them, their store, and their image, and they're not making sales. So this was one of those where they pretty much everything shut down. We were living in Toronto at the time, and everything just shut down, and including this store that was geared to souvenirs for tourists, because it was a place called St. Jacobs, out of the city of Toronto, but just a short enough drive that a lot of tourists used to go down there because there were so many little shops and fun things to do and see and have your picture taken on a sidewalk with something that they'd put up in there. It was just a delightful little town, and I used to really enjoy going there before 9/11 with some of my friends, and even families from out of town. We would take them out there for the day because it was fun to get out of the city and be where there was so much to shop and so many things going on. So they called me after they had made a decision that they were actually going to go out of business. They said, we just need you to help us have a good closing out sale. So when I got there, we had decided to, I looked through everything, made comments. I actually gave a little seminar on merchandising and display, even though this was not for their store to stay in business. This was for them to set up a huge tent in their parking lot and have a big closing out sale. But they followed my principles in that tent. And when I called her and said, how are things going? She said, you won't believe it. And I also told her, I said, don't make them garage sale prices. Don't put those prices on them. Put healthy prices on them. You know, don't just discount it to $5. If it was a $50 item, put it on at $20, $25. You know, maintain something in there so you're at least getting your money back for what you spent on it. So they said, you won't believe it. People are flocking in from everywhere. We're selling everything. We keep running in the store and bringing more stuff, more stuff, and putting it in the way you told us to. Well, that was fine. I was all happy and excited that they were going to get all this cash flow. Then they called me and said, that sale was so successful, we have renewed our lease and we are not going to go out of business. We're going to keep our name back to Eden, and we're also going to change up to a home decor for a local store. It was a dream of theirs, and now they realized they could actually go forward with that. So now then they rehired me to come and help them switch up the store a little bit, and that's what these pictures are kind of showing the process. So you can see the before, and in fact this little sign at the top here says Kids Corner. So you can imagine that everything in here does look like it would appeal to children. And you can see how kind of scattered, and you can see how there's just a lot of visual confusion. Your eye isn't really going anywhere. There's not really a focal point. Now, these two ladies happen to be shopping in there, so I thought, good, I can take a picture of the people shopping in here. But it was so dark that I had to use the flash on my camera, and that is why it looks brighter than it actually was. You can see that during the process, they're now starting to take away a lot of this stuff was taken away, and they were then selling it and you know, discounting it because it was out of stock, and they were clearing it out. And that was a good thing too, as they were shifting, because they still had things that hadn't sold and they had kept, and they were just still putting them on display the best they knew how. And you can see that these pillows that were up here, which are home decor items, pillows are, they kept them up here. But look at what we did. We increased the lighting in there, just the bulbs. We just put new bulbs in there, and look at how bright it is in there, because my second image here of the during process does not have, I'm not using my flash, I'm just using my camera. So that proved that part. And then the after part, you can see that next door here used to be a huge garden type, a lot of gardening stuff and plants and things like that. East of Eden. I think I said that wrong. It's east of Eden, not back to Eden. And you can see then when you look in here that they've got this beautiful furniture, and these are actually folding tables made with rattan tops, and Yes, they shouldn't be there. They're impeding the traffic, but that's another issue. So they were now back in, or coming into their business, where they were going to be showing beautiful home decor furniture for the local people, and they were going to be having samples in there, and then you could custom order from those samples. And they had set everything up, and the store was just beginning to morph into this new home decor place. You can also see when you look at the after picture that these are napkins, which are home entertainment item. And there's things, like you say, going on here. So when I ask you the question, which merchandising looks more high-end, in my mind, this merchandise is more high-end, but this traffic flow area, the way this is actually more high-end looking too, because it is just settling down. There's fewer things to scatter your eye all over the place. But that was helping them at that time to get rid of more of these things as they were transitioning. The next question then is, which one fits the image of East of Eden? Well, they were still carrying a lot of plants everywhere and trees throughout, mixed in with their furniture. And some of their furniture was outdoors, such as this chair that they have sitting here. Which one looks easier to shop in? Well, to be honest, this one looks easier to shop in, because this one was a little crowded on the day that I went down there. So when we look closely at it, just want to get some close-up, we can see the things that I tell people to avoid. Avoid this much product on the ground, especially if your target market are people of this age. They do not like to bend over and look at stuff. They may see these items from a distance as they walk towards it, but when they get here next to it, they're very reluctant to bend over and pick up things there. And if they can't see the price on it, for sure they don't want to. So this was a lot of things that needed to be addressed and to be changed up. We can see that the during process that now they've already removed a lot of the clutter, which was caused by the kids' corner. And you can see that home decor items are starting to take a place here. These are body care items that they were discounting, or discontinuing, I should say. And little by little, they were getting rid of them. And then when you look at this picture here, you can see that they've not only cleared up all of it, but they have, again, added the napkins. They've actually moved this fixture back so that this one is a little more visible. And visually, the side of that fixture is dividing some of the visual activity from the other visual activity. And that gives your eye a place to rest. It looks cleaner and wider, and everything is good. So the only issues here, as I've already mentioned, is this is not appropriate to be displayed there. And this, now that they've put the plants in there, which is great merchandising, you know, you've got the plants there for sale, the urn is for sale, so put them together, make them look good. But at the same time, this is not the best spot for them. So those ones are just what I wanted to cover in that regard. So watch for conflicting images. Okay, that's one thing we've showed here. Watch for conflicting images. Products should work with the fixtures and the furnishings. So that the products aren't working with them. And I could still point out a whole bunch of other things, such as these items here should be this tucked in behind the edge there, this behind the edge. Then your eye flows around and it forms a frame around the product, and it's much more appealing, and everything looks cleaner and nicer. Contrast can enhance and highlight the fixtures. Clashing colors can cause mental conflict and visual confusion, so you want to watch colors. Keep colors color blocked. Keep them in their color families, or things that match and look good together. That's always makes a customer feel more comfortable and enjoy shopping. Make product groupings tight and dense. Now the reason you do that is you can show more stuff in less space, but also then your eye isn't going through, your eye is stopped. And a classic example would be this one here, all kind of loose and cluttery, and this one where the products are a little bit more dense, and your eye can go right in there and just focus on fewer things, and it's much more appealing. So show more product in less space. Now, the point I wanted to make too is there were no renovations. There were the same fixtures. the same basic layout, but focus lighting. So we added focus lighting, and you can see that the lighting is on this fixture and the lighting is back in that. And you always want more light back in corners. And if you can't find, have ceiling light or hardwired lighting, then consider little spaces where you can put in lamps. They can be a clamp light up on a shelf that's shining down. It can be a table lamp in a corner, as long as nobody can touch it and get hurt by it or burned. Those are things you have to always think about. So again, image created plus image maintained equals target marketing. So fix the vibe with more ideas. Here are some more ideas for you. And this is a hospital gift shop. This is not the floor. It appears like it might be. This is the floor. It's actually a riser. We built risers around because in a hospital gift shop, you have people in wheelchairs coming by and or carrying their IV poles and things like that. So they can't always bend over and get things that are on the floor either. So that was what we're showing. And again, here they had put a lamp in the corner because the corner was a little bit dark based on how the lighting ended up. So keep the aisles and the traffic paths clear and more spacious. Minimum is 30 inches, 2.5 feet. 48 inches, which is 4 feet, is way better for two-way traffic. Otherwise, you're asking the customers to go around like in a maze, just one customer at a time. And we often say that if your target market is young families who have these huge strollers, or they are older people who have walkers and wheelchairs, and then sometimes people carrying big backpacks, those are ones that you need to make bigger aisles for if they're your target market. Paint the shelves, the fixtures, the risers, and the walls to make products look better. Yeah, there's a lot of super paints on the market now. You can just about paint anything and have it look good. So if the fixture itself is sticking out like a sore thumb and it's not really enhancing the product that's on it, then feel free to paint it. That's my advice for you and my permission. Try different layouts. The layout can have a big bearing on the flow of your traffic. You want your customers to come through. And I know a lot of merchants who don't shop their own store. They don't walk through their own store. They just kind of know where everything is, and they don't realize that every time a stroller comes in, it can hardly get around that corner, so nobody's going to shop in that end. And you need to pay attention to things like that. Do you need more wall space? Place shelf units back to back or expose the backs for wall decor. The only thing to be careful of here is if things are going to tip over. You have to make sure that things are stable. When you have very high shelves, they need to be stabilized and anchored somehow. So add portable or more light in dark corners, which we have already talked about. Here's an example of another one of my clients, and you can see this is actually slat wall, which I love because it is so functional. You can see how much product she has in a very small space, and yet it looks good. We've got it divided here by these melamine dividers that were actually just added on, bracketed on to the walls, and they visually separate everything and keep them. Now this would be a middle to high-end fashion store in a suburb. And people used to love shopping there. They often would come in and say, I just feel like I'm in a boutique downtown, like a high-end boutique. And then the other thing that I do, which we'll talk about too, this is a presentation where you're cross-merchandising, showing things at eye level that are above the products, above the shelf. They're seen from a distance, and you can make really strong themed displays there. And I call that a feature display. And again, you can see that the lighting here is shining on that as well as the daylight from the window. Here's an example of a feature display I did in a drugstore because they were taking on the Lancôme line. And the Lancôme line, of course, is French. And so I wanted to give a bit of a French vibe there. The other thing is the colors. I picked up the colors of this floral arrangement in this big urn, and of course this little pedestal with a head on it indicating a white sculpture. And you can see the hand. There's a little hand over here that I picked up at a display place, and of course you can hold all sorts of cosmetic items in there. So that kind of gave the vibe, and I got these colors from the packaging. So the packaging is what tells the story and gave the theme. That's where I got my inspiration from. And Yeah, they loved it, and I know what their sales had to be. In order for them to be able to take on this line, they almost had to guarantee a certain amount of sales per year to justify having it. This is an example of another store, and this is what it looked like when I got there and was evaluating it. Now, my next picture is actually going to show you what we did in a day. If you don't think the image was changed in a day, we did no renovations at that point, and we didn't purchase anything at that point, no fixtures or anything. I just went about and I gathered as much as I could find in the store, and we had to clear out the back area because that's where the renovations were starting. So here is what you see. Look at what we did. I gathered up every shelf I could find and put them all here. I then took her little table and these two chairs. I nested it. I put them on top of each other. I made sure that it lines up with the floor because the floor had such a huge pattern. You can't ignore some things. You have to work with them. Otherwise, the customers are getting confused instead of amused, and we wanted them to be amused. The other thing I'm doing here is I've created a little aisle back in here so that people can still walk around there. The cooler is on this side, the floral cooler. And you can see here that I am doing what I call vertical merchandising. You put more product in less space at better selling, buy level we call it, B-U-Y. Buy level is eye level. So more products get into comfortable reach and buy level. In this way, you can see down here we have boxes all lined up, bankers boxes, because they are full of products that also came in from the back that do not need to be displayed. So they were things like spray paints and all sorts of things that needed a home, and they needed a temporary home while we were finishing or redoing the store. And that actually created another shelf for me to put a few more things on. And then we do have a few little things on the floor, but we do not have plush on the floor. We never have things on the floor that are going to collect dust bunnies and get immediately look shop worn and like they're not the value that they need to be and need to appear as. So what's your takeaway from this? Is keep your store interesting and fresh. Changes you make to the store affects how the products are seen, even those that have been around for a while. Never discount your old products and think that they can't have a new look. You can give them a new stage and a new play by putting them in the right places. So don't discount, dust, and display. The other video in this playlist is about your place called Buyer's First Glance, and products and presentations. In other words, organize equals sales. And look good, sell well is the people and the price. So we're going to carry on with those, and I hope that you will go look for them on the playlist and on your my YouTube channel. And in the meantime, make your store more with these 4 keys. Learn how and learn now. This is the Organized Retailer. It's a downloadable PDF for free. Transform your store beginning today. And the people that have read it have commented that it's the best book ever because it follows my client who increased her store traffic and boosted her sales by 70% in 3 years until she successfully sold her business. She said she had more productive staff, organized supplies, engaging displays, streamlined customer service, and again, don't discount display is what we taught her. And todaysdisplays.com is where you can go for more resources, and I will talk to you soon and hopefully see you in the next videos. Bye.